What actually happens to your body if you stop wearing underwear? Ever considered going commando? There are a few reasons you may have thought about ditching your underwear before, from eliminating those awkward undie lines to feeling a little freer down there. But did you know there can be actual health benefits, and side effects, for that matter, of leaving your undies in the drawer? As Dr. Donick Moore, a gynecologist and president of Sapphire Women's Health Group, put it to health, it's not good to always have the lady parts locked up. They need air like all other parts of your body. That could mean something as simple as ditching the undies at night to give your downstairs a little time to breathe. But more and more people have been going commando during the day too, proudly leaving their undergarments at home. There's no one answer fits all here when it comes to whether you should or you shouldn't keep your undies in regular rotation. As lounge founder Mel Marston put it to HuffPost, it is completely up to the individual and doing what makes them feel most comfortable is key. But there are some pretty serious health positives and negatives you need to consider before deciding if underwear really is, or isn't, for you. If you experience a lot of sweating down there, not wearing underwear can actually be a great way to keep things cooler and fresher. Wearing underwear, particularly undies without a lot of breathability, can make your intimate area a lot warmer, which could lead to increased sweating around the groin. Because of that, many people prefer to go sans underwear when they work out. And it turns out that going commando to the gym can actually have a number of benefits even beyond sweating. Some women prefer to go commando during running, elliptical, spinning, kickboxing, etc., which affords less chafing, less visible lines in tighter workout clothes, and gives a sense of more mobility and flexibility, OB/GYN Dr. Alyssa Dweck explained to Shape. Another reason some people are leaving their undies at home? Because less sweating down there can also potentially mean less odors around the intimate area. A lot of, but not all, vaginal odors can actually be caused by underwear trapping the sweat that develops around the intimate area. By ditching the garment, any sweat around your genitals will be given the opportunity to evaporate, so the whole area has more of a chance to breathe in a cooler, drier environment. By going without underwear, you're also giving your body a better chance at not developing a number of infections, such as yeast infections, bacterial vaginosis, fungal infections, and UTIs. That's because, as OB/GYN and author Dr. Sherry A. Ross told Well Plus Good, there is no buildup of heat and moisture which can increase the risk of a vaginal infection. In some people, underwear can create the ideal warm and moist environment for Candida to thrive, which can then develop into a yeast infection. Dr. Donica Moore told Hella Health this is particularly a risk if you like to wear silk underwear, or undergarments made of other synthetic fabrics. They're not breathable, which increases the risk of moisture being trapped and retained, which can create a yeast or bacterial infection, she shared. Elise Fosnight, medical advisor and urologist at Aeroflow Urology, added to Insider that non-cotton underwear can also increase the potential of developing a urinary tract infection, UTI. That can also be true for skimpier underwear, like thongs, as these kinds of undies can be known to trap bacteria down there and even push against genital tissue. Dr. Felice Gersh, an OB/GYN and founder of the Integrative Medical Group of Irvine, also explained to Bustle that the chances of contracting bacterial vaginosis and fungal infections can also be decreased by giving your intimate area the chance to air out. It goes without saying that if you experience chafing while wearing underwear, removing them completely should clear up the problem. There are a number of reasons why your undergarments may cause chafing, with one of the most obvious being that they're just too tight or just don't quite fit right. If your skin doesn't get irritated, then great, tight underwear won't hurt you. But if you do get irritated because of friction, then tight underwear is not recommended, Dr. Raquel B. Dardick, a clinical associate professor, told Hella Health. But it's not just too tight or ill-fitting undies that have been known to cause chafing around the groin. For some people, chafing can actually be caused or made worse by too much moisture gathering around the genitals, such as excess sweat. The irritation can then happen as a result of sweat and friction from the underwear continually rubbing against the skin. When you don't wear underwear, the vulva and buttock are completely unrestricted and free. The unrestricted vulva doesn't have any underwear or panty lines or fabric to add discomfort to this sensitive area, women's health expert Dr. Sherry Ross told HuffPost. Did you know some people may actually have an intolerance or be allergic to their underwear? And they may not even know it. Some undies are made from fabrics that some people may be irritated by, as well as containing dyes or chemicals that can aggravate such a sensitive, intimate area. As your underwear sits so close to the intimate area and your booty, which can also be sensitive, that can be a big problem for some people. Dr. Tim Maynardi of Hudson Allergy explained to Fox News that people who feel an unexplained irritation when wearing underwear should opt for garments made of natural fibers, like cotton, or go commando. While there's still the chance of irritation from your clothing when you don't wear undies, we wouldn't recommend going out without underwear or bottoms. Your pants, skirt, dress, or whatever else you're wearing won't be coming in quite as close contact with all of your intimate area. But it may not be the underwear itself that's causing issues down there. It's also important to wash anything coming into close contact with that area properly, using suitable products for you and your body. Some girls may benefit from a baby detergent or something hypoallergenic, fragrance-free, and dye-free. All of those things can be irritating on whatever garments are touching their bottoms. Gynecologist Dr. Alyssa Dweck, co-author of V is for Vagina, told 17. The term underwear, of course, isn't limited to things like panties or thongs. Many people also wear shapewear instead of traditional underwear, and they can cause some serious health issues of their own. Because shapewear can be very tight to create a smoother silhouette, it may actually result in circulation issues if worn on a regular basis. If it's really tight, you could have nerve impingement and decreased circulation, Dr. Donica Moore told Hella Health. But it's not just shapewear that can cause circulation problems if it's too tight. According to Dr. Camila Phillips, an OB/GYN who spoke to Bustle, regular underwear can also cause the issue if the pair you're wearing is too small for you. But that's not all restricting undergarments can potentially do to the body. Hepatologist Dr. Jamal Joaquin Fleming told Cleveland Clinic Health Essentials that shapewear can, just like traditional underwear, also cause chafing if it's worn for long periods of time. Shapewear has even been known to result in acid reflux in some people because of the way it can restrict the digestive tract due to its tight nature. Of course, wearing shapewear occasionally is absolutely fine for most people, as long as you wear the right size. Otherwise, going commando may be the better choice for you to keep your body healthy. Suffering from pesky ingrown hairs? Then waving goodbye to underwear, at least for a while, may be a good idea. Tight clothing and underwear that's made from synthetic fabrics, such as polyester, can often make ingrown hairs worse, according to Jessica Johnson, a Completely Bare brand ambassador who spoke to HuffPost. That's because tight underwear can rub against the hairs that grow down there, and potentially make any ingrown ones worse. That's because tight undies can cause a lack of circulation and can even press the hair down, which can result in the hair turning back in on itself and going under the skin. But, equally, even loose-fitting underwear can also cause issues around the intimate area when it comes to ingrown hairs. That's because even loose undies can rub down there, too. That's why, if you're prone to getting ingrown hairs, you may be better off ditching underwear altogether until the problem has cleared. But it's not all benefits when it comes to leaving your underwear at home. Ditching undergarments may eliminate irritation caused by underwear, but that doesn't mean you're home free. There's still the potential of your genitals becoming irritated by your clothing materials, which isn't great news when they aren't designed to come into such close contact with such an intimate area. Oftentimes, stiffer, thicker materials, such as denim, can cause just as much, if not more, damage than the softer materials undergarments are usually made from. This can cause problems such as chafing or skin irritation. Dr. Nini Mai, doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine, told Well Plus Good about going commando. Going sans underwear could also result in your intimate area coming into contact with dirtier materials. Of course, it's recommended you wear a fresh pair of undies each day, but not everyone washes their pants, skirts, or other bottoms after each use. Clothing made of materials like wool can also be notoriously bad for going commando, as it can lead to small fibers getting caught in the genitals or pubic hair. Not wearing underwear may leave your genitals and your booty open to more injuries, particularly if you're wearing pants with a zipper, like jeans. When wearing underwear, there's an extra layer of protection between you and your pants, which means there's less of a chance you'll accidentally zip any skin or hair into your pants. Not to mention, you'll also be giving yourself a little extra modesty for those moments you forget your fly is down. Underwear can also offer just a little extra protection for when you're sitting on harder surfaces. But that's not all you're risking when it comes to potential injuries. Dr. Donica Moore told Health that your genitals could also be hurt by getting too close to your clothing fabric. The rubbing can lead to very small nicks in the skin that act as portals for bacteria, she explained. This is particularly true for more coarse materials. Equally, that potentially rougher material can also be known to rub in an especially sensitive intimate place, particularly for vagina owners, which can cause serious discomfort. If you're wearing pants, the seam sits right in the vulval area and will constantly be rubbing the area, Dr. Raquel B. Dardick, a clinical associate professor, told Hella Health. People with vaginas can actually learn a lot of important information about their body by wearing underwear. That's because vaginal discharge, namely its color and consistency, can tell a person a lot about their intimate health. It can make vagina owners aware of issues such as STIs or vaginal infections they may have developed or contracted. Wearing underwear means any discharge will be collected, and often visible, in the panties. That allows folks to get a good idea of what's considered normal for them and what isn't. Not wearing underwear may make it more difficult to see any discharge, as it won't be collected in one place, making it more difficult to be able to tell if something is wrong. If this vaginal discharge changes from your normal, or develops a new unpleasant smell, it could be a sign of an underlying problem, GP Dr. Rhianna McClymont told Livy. Going without underwear can also result in a damper feeling around the genitals. As Dr. Jessica Shepherd, OB/GYN and women's health expert, told Well Plus Good, having underwear absorb any extra moisture down there will help your body feel more comfortable. Board-certified OB/GYN Dr. Elise Keller-Jones further explained why so many people feel drier when wearing underwear, telling Healthline, "The vulva is a very sensitive and delicate area, similar to the lips on your face. You want to treat gently. Since it is healthy to have vaginal discharge, similar to the moisture you always have in your mouth, you want your underwear to gently absorb any extra moisture. That's why underwear can be a particularly good idea when wearing clothing that's open around the intimate area. If you are wearing dresses or skirts, there's nothing there to absorb vaginal moisture, Dr. Raquel B. Dardick explained to Hella Health. The most important thing to consider when you're deciding whether or not to go commando, though? Do what's best for your body. Drink wine every night before bed and watch what happens. When it comes to drinking alcohol, Wine has long been believed to be the healthiest option. Wine is a source of antioxidants, and research has pointed to red wine, in particular, as being good for the heart, per Mayo Clinic. But while the narrative around this has always been that the benefits only exist when wine is consumed in moderation, new research is saying otherwise. According to the World Heart Federation, WHF, 2.4 million people worldwide died because of alcohol-related illnesses in 2019. This death rate accounts for 12.6% of men ages 15 to 49. In fact, the WHF attributes the loss of life to any alcohol consumption. In a culture that turns to alcohol for any number of reasons, or excuses, that's a difficult pill to swallow. It is important not to exaggerate the risk of moderate drinking and unduly alarm responsible consumers who are more than able to make informed decisions and enjoy alcohol sensibly if they chose to do so, Chief Executive of the Portman Group Matt Lambert told Bloomberg. However, we recognize that everyone's circumstances are different and for some people, there is no safe level of drinking. We therefore encourage consumers to take a sensible and measured approach to risk. Although a mindful approach to drinking should keep most people away from drinking wine every night before bed, you still may want to know what happens if you do. Knowing the effects and results might make you re-evaluate your relationship with wine. Or maybe it won't. Although the term nightcap exists, it doesn't mean that everyone who drinks before bed is going to get a good night's sleep. Both during and after drinking, the body needs to metabolize the alcohol so it can be eliminated. According to a 2001 study published in Alcohol Research and Health, while you may be able to sleep through the metabolization process, once the wine is gone, the body needs to readjust to the change, which can disrupt what would be a normal sleep pattern. So there you are, tossing and turning. You can't get back to sleep, and trying to reach the rapid eye movement, REM, level of sleep can be a struggle. REM sleep is the deepest sleep, where you have your most vivid dreams, pulmonologist and sleep medicine specialist Aristides Iatridis, MD told Piedmont. It's probably the most restorative sleep. And alcohol can reduce the amount of REM sleep you have at night. Iatridis shared that if you stop drinking 4 hours before bed, you can help limit the amount of disruption you might encounter. He also points out, people don't do that, but that would be optimal. As we already know, not enough sleep doesn't just make people moody, cranky, and accident-prone, but the downsides don't stop there. According to 2022 research published by the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, sleep deprivation can lead to depression, heart-related diseases, obesity, and diabetes. Whether it's wine or something else, alcohol dehydrates the body. Full stop. When the body is in need of hydration, it shows, especially on the face. Unless you're drinking as much water as you are wine every night, you better believe that the next morning your face is going to look like it's been put through the ringer. Multiple nights in a row. Kiss your perfect complexion goodbye. Alcohol is a toxin with little nutrient value and can contribute to poorer liver function, reduced immunity, hormone disruption, cell damage, and insulin issues, all impacting on the quality, appearance, and aging of your skin, celebrity esthetician Sonia Darkar told Insider. Alcohol is also a diuretic, so you can lose plenty of skin cell-loving water from the body quite rapidly, leaving your skin dehydrated and dull. I can always tell who is a drinker when I look at their skin and see puffy under eyes, red skin, or a red nose, pasty skin, and even broken capillaries. Yikes. While a red nose may look cute on Rudolph, and Pete Davidson sure makes those dark circles look alluring, these physical attributes aren't for everyone. It's also worth noting that the negative effect alcohol has on the immune system can make you prone to skin infections, per Medical News Today. Wine in any situation can be relaxing and fun. It can also stave off depression, sort of. According to a 2013 study published in BMC Medicine, those who drink 5 to 15 grams of alcohol a day, 2 to 7 drinks a week, have a lower risk of depression, and significantly so. Great news, right? But that's where the good news ends. Drinking more than this amount can backfire. Not only does drinking every night exacerbate depression in those who already have it, but it can lead to depression too, according to American addiction centers. If you've had one too many drinks and woken up the next morning with a hangxiety, alcohol-induced anxiety, then you already know alcohol can affect mental health. Because of the chemical changes that wine has on the brain, things can get darker, resulting in deep depression and anger. Alcohol also impedes the brain's ability to process information and regulate emotions, so you can behave and think in ways that aren't normal for you. In time, with consistent nightly drinking, these things can spiral, according to the Mental Health Foundation of the UK. Realistically, nothing good can come from drinking wine, or any alcohol, every night. While its ability to help people relax, let their guard down, and be more social is undeniable, the damage it's causing is always there. Alcohol, even wine, is poisonous to the body. It really causes profound physical effects across a variety of different systems, addiction psychiatrist Dr. Carl Eric Fisher told the New York Times. Everything is affected by drinking, and it's rarely any good. The ultimate response to someone's rude behavior toward you. As much as it might be difficult to admit, rude people are everywhere. Even our friends and family can be rude to us, and when it happens, it stings. All you need is one person to be rude and others will follow suit because, as a 2016 study published in Applied Psychology found, rudeness is contagious. But just because you might find yourself in a room full of negative Nellies throwing around uncomfortable encounters, that doesn't mean you have to be rude too. Instead, you can counter that rudeness with 3 simple, effective words posed as a question. Are you okay? According to etiquette expert Sarah Jane Ho, asking someone this shows that what was said to you was out of bounds and, basically, not cool at all. I'm not being offensive back, Ho told CNBC Make It. I'm coming from a place of care, and that is usually to put the other person in check. These 3 little words can make the rude person reevaluate their bad behavior because it's hard to carry on being negative when you've been confronted with care. Although this is definitely the ultimate response to rudeness, it doesn't mean it's appropriate to use at all times. There are situations that call for it and situations where you should use another technique instead. It's all about how close you are to the rude person in question and the setting you're in. Because you're coming from a place of concern, asking "Are you okay?" gives you back your control. You've been spoken rudely to and now you're going to take the high road, unlike the person who made the comment. It's also hard to bounce back after a question has been posed that levels the playing field, because it can make the commenter feel foolish. You can respond with a question of your own that highlights the absurdity or tactlessness of their words, licensed marriage and family therapist Saba Harini Luri told Psych Central. In doing so, you might also just prompt them to consider their intention and the harm caused, even if their intention wasn't to cause harm. While many of us are well aware when we're being rude, some people are completely clueless as to the impact of the words. Asking "Are you okay?" can shift the tone and give the commenter a chance to wise up and hopefully think before they speak going forward. It may not be debatable that "Are you okay?" is pure brilliance when responding to a rude comment, but it doesn't mean it should be invoked every time you find yourself on the receiving end of rudeness. Instead, you want to only use it with people you're close to and with whom you have a strong relationship. In professional settings, for example, it's best to say nothing at all. Oftentimes, I feel like when people are being rude, the best thing is to just not say anything, Etiquette expert Sarah Jane Ho told CNBC Make It. Let everyone wallow, and let them wallow in their misbehavior. The greatest power is showing that the other person doesn't have power over you. While it might seem counterintuitive to ignore your conflict resolution skills, sometimes keeping your lips sealed and walking away gives you the upper hand. There's no sense in saying something that could escalate the issue when you're in the workplace, especially since professionalism is so paramount there. You will run into a lot of rude people in your life. Why? Because according to 2022 research by incivility expert and Georgetown University management professor Christine Porath, people are ruder now more than ever. Of course, not everyone has devolved into letting disrespect triumph over kindness, but there are enough rude people in the world that knowing how to handle them will make your life easier. "12 Reasons to Get into the Radical Habit of Re-Evaluating Your Friendships." Friendships. They can be a tricky business, can't they? Remember that old song, "Make new friends but keep the old." One is silver, but the other is gold. Yeah, that's a lovely sentiment when you're a kid, but sometimes as adults, it doesn't always hold up. Sadly, there comes a time in adulthood where we find the people in our lives just aren't healthy for us anymore. But that's not always the easiest thing to admit. As Dr. Daniel Yadiger explained to CBS New York, we like to think that friendship is something that everyone can handle. It's so much harder to say, "My friend is making me ill." As we know all too well, things change, and people change with them, which often means what we need of our relationships changes too. We sometimes cling to friends out of routine, a sense of loyalty, or because of the amount of history we have together, author and lifestyle friendship coach Danielle Bayard Jackson explained to the Zoe Report. But it's important to occasionally monitor the health of these relationships and examine their impact on your physical, emotional, and mental health. That's where re-evaluating friendships comes in. The process can include everything from making a list of your friendships and deciding which ones give you the support and stability you need, to having a long think about how you feel after each interaction you have with a friend. But why is it so vital to think so critically about our friendships? One of the biggest benefits of assessing your friendships is the effect it will have on your physical health, because in case you didn't know, bad friendships have actually been scientifically proven to detrimental to your well-being. As Beverly Fayer, social psychologist and author of Friendship Processes, told The Washington Post, we're seeing more and more research about how beneficial it is to your health to have healthy friendships. It also implies the flip side: if your friendships are not healthy, you will experience negative health outcomes. There has actually been plenty of research showing how friendships can be directly linked to our physical health, with one 2012 study finding that stressful friendships can actually increase a certain type of protein in their body that causes inflammation and potentially even more serious issues, like diabetes, heart disease, and even cancer. Not to mention, dealing with someone who constantly stresses you out is likely cause a physical headache as well. Inconsistent friends can also wreak havoc on our health, too. One 2007 study found that those who felt their relationships with their friends were more up and down were likely to experience an elevation in heart rate and blood pressure simply by even thinking about the friendship. The science of friendship shows that ambivalent relationships are not great for our health, author and science journalist Lydia Denworth told CNN. In other words, the good does not necessarily outweigh the bad if there's too much bad. It's not just your body that could seem some big perks from a friendship reevaluation, as your mental health could also greatly benefit from taking stock of what's really going on in your platonic relationships as well. A study conducted in 2016 found that those who consider themselves to have healthier friendships experiences higher levels of self-esteem, are better psychosocial adjusted, and are more sensitive to others' issues. Conversely, those who felt some of their friendships were more fractured experienced an increase in negative feelings, including higher levels of anxiety. Not only that, but a 2013 report from the University of Edinburgh Business School actually found that people with a higher number of Facebook friends often felt more stressed when it comes to maintaining their friendships. So if you're looking for more peace of mind, it may be wise to think about how many people you actually have in your life as well. As we get older, our lives will inevitably grow in a different direction from some of the people who have been in our lives for a while. And sometimes that means certain people just don't fit in it anymore. But that's not always a bad thing. As Lydia Denworth told CNN, not all friendships last a lifetime, and that's okay. Evolutionary biologists have found that high-quality bonds require three things. They are long-lasting, positive, and cooperative. You need all three. Couple and family therapist manager Rachel D. Miller clearly agreed, admitting to Bustle that certain friendships may work better for you at one time in your life but may not be what you need a few years later. For example, that gal pal you used to go drinking with after another bad date. She may not be the same friend you form a close bond with after you become a parent for the first time. But that doesn't mean you need to totally ditch that old confidant entirely when you take stock of your circle. If you're not quite getting what you need anymore, it's never a bad idea to reevaluate what it is you're looking for in a friendship and communicate it in a calm and open way. That'll help you to surround yourself with people to support you when you need it the most, and their reaction will tell you a lot about if this is someone you really want in your life. After being friends with someone for so many years, it can be too easy to overlook necessary boundaries, since you've been accustomed to a person having access to you for so long. However, in adulthood, defining your limits is vital for maintaining personal space and mental health. Therapist Kaylee Place also explained the importance of having clear friendship boundaries to Bustle, noting, not only are boundaries helpful for your own needs, but they're also helpful for others to know how to best connect and interact with you. If that person isn't meeting those needs, or constantly crossing lines with you, it's time to have a long, hard think about if this is someone you really want in your life and what they're really adding to your sense of well-being. By using your friendships as somewhat of a testing ground for setting boundaries, you'll get practice applying them in other areas of your life, like your romantic relationships or at work. As Francesca Gamble, life coach and the co-host of the podcast Becoming More Human, explained to Stylist, knowing if a friendship is working for you requires some serious reflecting in order to define what you're really expecting from the other person, which can only be helpful for your other relationships in the long run. As a reminder, what constitutes a boundary will look different for everyone, so when having those hard conversations, be sure you let the other person know why you're doing it. Each time you set a boundary, you'll probably feel more comfortable defining and communicating it to someone else. Making the decision to step back on, or potentially even terminate any relationships that are no longer bringing joy and support will allow you to give the proper time and care to those who mean the most to you. Professor of Evolutionary Psychology at the University of Oxford Dr. Robin Dunbar claimed the average person can only properly maintain 150 friendships at any one time, and even then, not everyone gets an equal split when it comes to time and effort. He explained to The Guardian that 60% of our social efforts are split between just 15 people, and 40% of that is given to a lucky 5 we consider our very. With that in mind, why dedicate time to a friendship you're not enjoying or are merely holding onto from a legacy perspective, instead of focusing on what makes you the happiest? Instead of spending time putting effort into old friends we don't have much in common with anymore, we can invest in those newer friendships that are thriving and will go the distance in our lives. Reevaluating doesn't have to mean cutting people out of your life entirely, though. You may just decide to take a bit of time away from that friendship for a while as you nurture others. After all, there's always the opportunity to grow closer again in the future. While we've spent a lot of time taking another look at how your friendships may affect you, it can never be a bad thing to stop and think about your own impact on someone else too. While re-examining what kind of energy people are bringing to your life, it's also important to think about the energy you're bringing to theirs. If you find that you're not exactly giving your best, which could include anything from being too busy to meet up, not responding to their messages in a timely manner, or you aren't able to support them in the way they need, that could be a red flag that you may not be having the most positive impact on their life. As noted by Cleveland Clinic, an imbalanced relationship where one person is putting in all the effort can quickly become toxic and cause a person to feel drained and resentful. It's important to remember this imbalance isn't always personal or about the other person's character. Sometimes different personalities simply require different levels of contact, and in cases where your investments in the friendship aren't matched, it may be better for both of you to take a step back. Use that time to think about what you actually want, and if you're the one giving more effort, you'll also be able to see if your absence inspires them to reach out. Thinking carefully about what's really going on will prevent either of you from getting, or staying, in a toxic situation. Taking stock of your friendships and looking at what's really going on may give you a better understanding of when you're quietly being rejected by a friend, but don't realize it. In most cases, a friend who's not all that interested in continuing a relationship with you probably won't come out and say it, especially if there wasn't a big fight between you two. This can leave you playing the guessing game and even questioning yourself about what you did or said to make them pull away. Of course, be mindful there are always exceptions to the rule, and people do genuinely have busy periods where friendships temporarily fall to the wayside. In that case, Cleveland Clinic advises confronting a friend to share how you feel, and communicating expectations may help shift the dynamic. However, if even after that, you're noticing a pattern in which they still make excuses about not hanging out and always seem to speak about themselves instead of asking about you, that could be a sign that maybe you need to think about if this is a relationship worth continuing. After all, you don't want to grow resentful of the other person. By taking a step back and thinking objectively if this is a friendship worth having, you could save yourself a lot of questioning and potential disappointment down the line. Who knew that a lack of adequate social interaction can lead to a lack of cash? Well, it may be a little surprising, but research from the University of Chicago found that individuals who didn't feel they were in thriving friendships were more likely to take bigger risks with money in an effort to create a stronger bond with the people they were around. They also felt bigger feelings of rejection. Money can be a fraught topic among friends, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a deal breaker. But if you find yourself feeling compelled to constantly spend on things like outings or lavish dinners just to keep up with or impress a friend, it may be time to think long and hard about the friendship. The same holds true if you have friends who don't always reciprocate your generosity in buying a round of drinks or paying for dinner when you head out. If you've noticed this is a pattern stretching over a long time, and you know for a fact there's no deeper reason why they're unable to split the bill equally with you, that could be a re-evaluation casualty. Just remember to be understanding though, as everyone's likely to have periods where they can't splash the cash. If you're not spending your time worrying about maintaining friendships with people that aren't the right fit, you'll have more time in your day to do other things you love and maybe even get to know yourself a little better at the same time. If you're thinking about a specific friendship and find there may be something you want to address with them, eliminating that sense of anxiety is rarely a bad thing. Asking what's really going on by having that frank conversation, although we know it can be daunting, will likely eliminate any questions or concerns you may have. By speaking so honestly about your feelings, not only have you laid out the potential to improve your own mental health, but you'll also have done a lot of important work on yourself. That means if you decide to continue on with the friendship, You're likely to have a lot more fun when you head out with that friend again, because there won't be that big cloud hanging over either of your heads. Equally, if you decided to take a step back from said friend while you do a little thinking, there can be benefits there too. Taking on solo activities can have a number of pluses, including improved memory and a boost in creativity and empathy. Just remember, though, there's a big difference between feeling independent and feeling lonely, and the two shouldn't be confused. As the saying goes, the smallest move can lead to the biggest change, and when it comes to friendship, re-evaluating what's not working can potentially lead you to bigger things that have more of a positive impact on your life. For example, spending less time with a friend who doesn't respect your boundaries could mean you have more time to dedicate to a work project, potentially leading to that big promotion you've been hoping for. Or maybe now you can finally start the wellness journey you had been putting off because they always insisted you meet for drinks. The possibilities are endless. Taking action with our friendships, whether deciding to continue working at them or end them, can also help us develop a healthier relationship with confrontation, when it's needed, of course. Having frank discussions about what you both need from one another will also prevent you from coasting along if you're not truly happy, Dr. Varvarian tells the Zoe Report. If we don't have these types of discussions within our relationships, we likely won't be able to promote change the way we are hoping for, and often this leads to the build-up of resentment, she said to the outlet. That leads us to our next point. A re-evaluation of your friendships, of course, doesn't always spell the end of the relationship, but taking the time to have a think and then a chat with your nearest and dearest also makes room for those relationships to grow. By openly vocalizing the way you feel, which should go both ways, by the way, you're both creating the safe space to potentially take your connection to a new level, where you may even gain a better understanding of one another and what you want from the friendship. That means you're giving the friendship chance to change and evolve to suit both of you. As noted by Grace McMahon, a life coach at Being Well Family, while speaking to Stylist, a lot of the time we try and guess how other people feel, so making the time to really listen to them is key. By not assuming and instead explicitly asking for friends' take on your friendship, you'll both stop playing the guessing game and could even become closer than ever before with a brand new understanding of and respect for one another. Sounds like a win-win to us. By re-evaluating who you let get close to you, you may gain a better sense of self and what you really want from life. Motivational speaker Jim Rohn claimed that we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with, which means we're likely unconsciously adopting new habits and behaviors all the time from our closest friends. In other words, it helps to be certain the friends we spend most of our time with are good people with personality traits we wouldn't mind rubbing off on us. By taking a step back and really thinking about if you'd want to be described just like your closest friends, you'll gain a better idea of whether these are really the people who will help you bring out the best version of yourself. If you decide they are, then great, your work here is done, for now. But if they're not, it may be time to take action to make sure you surround yourself with people you're proud to call your inner circle.